It ain't just about the wheels spinning. It's the soul of the road calling your name.
I'm Taz, and you're now riding with the Ruach. In times of peace, prepare for war, because peace doesn't last forever. If you're a sucker, get out the way.
This is Taz, that dude. Motorcycle culture has always been about freedom. But for black riders, the road to freedom came with challenges. You heard? This series explores the history, brotherhood, and evolution of black motorcycle clubs. From the earliest beginnings to the modern MC culture that we see today. Put some respect on their names. I'm Taz, and you're now riding with the Ruach. Go and get your popcorn, cause I'm about to take you on a ride this wild walk. This documentary series is presented for educational and historical purposes. The information shared is based on publicly available sources and historical research. The views expressed are not intended to represent or criticize any specific motorcycle club, organization, or individual. The goal of this series is to explore motorcycle culture and history. What better time to speak about William Wild Bill Johnson, the legendary, than right now. William Wild Bill Johnson, early racer and Harley-Davidson dealer. Details are a little sketchy, but many believe that William Wild Bill Johnson would be the first black man to get an AMA membership, American Motorcycle Association membership, back in the 1920s when he was still an exclusively black man to enter into an exclusively white club. As a mechanic, a racer, and a businessman, he was definitely the first African American to own his own Harley-Davidson shop. He was born in 1890 and died in 1985. He rode Harleys until he was 82 years old and ran his shop until the day that he left this world. May the Most High rest his soul in peace. Detailed images was very difficult to ascertain, and their source from the Little New York and New England Town newspaper, where Wild Bill won fame during his times as a hill climber. They don't have digital archives, so pardon myself if I'm off a year or two. Forgive me in advance. But the story goes that the Crotona Motorcycle Club wanted to hold an AMA sanctioned hill climb in Somers, New York, where Mr. Wild Bill Johnson lived and had a shop. The owner of the property agreed to let them use the land if Wild Bill could compete, and a deal was struck. Some say in order to get an AMA card or compete at the same as some events, Wild Bill had to claim he was an American Indian. Emphasis added. But he did whatever it took to race and win. Sadly, there are no pictures of him competing or anyone racing up the hill in Somers. This is actually the only picture of him I could find riding a bike, having grown up in BK, Brooklyn, New York, Brooklyn Stand Up. I was surprised to learn about the pre-war hill climb events. They seem to be the hot tickets back in the day, taking place anywhere that was a significant mound of dirt and rocks. Most of the images that you find online don't identify the riders, the location, or the date. But this is typical of that particular area. William Wild Bill Johnson competed in hill climbs up until World War II. After that point, he ran a successful Harley-Davidson dealership out of what was once a blacksmith shop up until the 1980s. He stopped riding after a recreational level after a fall left him without the use of his arms at age 82. Some say he passed away at 95. Some say he passed away at 85. You decide. He passed away. Some say he passed away in his shop. That's where he spent the majority of his time, of his life, in that shop, in that building. So what better way there was to go for his soul to fall, where he spent most of his career. It remembered in the AMA magazine with more detail was there. In the recent Harley Davidson and Missionaries, a functionalized version of Wild Bill Johnson had a small part, but was racing on a flat truck, not a hill climb. The character seemed to be more of an amalgamated of Mr. Johnson and a later flat truck racer named Leroy Buster Payne. Buster broke the color barrier in the AMA Grand National Flat Truck Road Racing, but that wasn't until 1952. Until the mid-50s, black riders was almost outlaws, racing in non-AMA sanctioned events. William Wild Bill Johnson was the first African-American Harley Davidson dealer. Put some respect on his name. Put some respect on his name. He was skilled at hill climbing. He competed in 15 to 20 races annually, after competing into his 80s. While Bill persona, he was known for his mechanical expertise in restoring and selling Harleys, overcoming barriers. He was sometimes forced to compete in segregated events early in his career and reportedly had to register as an American Indian to join the AMA, as noted in Black Enterprise. That was William Wild Bill Johnson. Next, I turn your attention to Ben Hardy. Did you know custom motorcycle builders Ben Hardy was born Benjamin F. Hardy on July the 25th, 1921 in Los Angeles, California. However, history data regarding his family upbringing and obituary have yet to be recovered from the annals of time. See, after World War II, as the United States experienced a slight depression with high unemployment, and California had an unemployment rate of 8.8%, compared to a national average of 3.9%. That was wild work right there, y'all. You dig? In 1946, Hardy established Hardy's Motorcycle Service Shop in South Central Los Angeles, located on 1168 East Florence Avenue. He built 2 Billy bikes and 3 Captain Americans made at that time from a 20-year-old heavily customized Harley Davidson Pinhead, with the assistance of another black motorcycle builder, Cliff Vaughn. The most famous motorcycles ever made. Emphasis added. Los Angeles, California was a city divided and segregated along racial lines, and it did not welcome Hardy and his creation into the mainstream motorcycle world. However, Hardy and black motorcyclists continue riding the typical Billy bike in their limited circles. In the 1950s, during the high point of Jim Crow, some viewed the camaraderies of riding a customized Harley chopper creatively in a group as a revolutionary act. He was a revolutionary. In 1969's Hardy's Choppers was showcased in the iconic 1969 motorcycle film Easy Rider, in which two bikers travel throughout the southwest and south of the U.S. with lots of money from a cocaine deal. His bikes were duplicated. This movie, if mechanical failure or wreckage during the film shortage were anticipated. The film Easy Rider brought in more than $60 million. However, Hardy was inadequately recognized. It did not benefit financially from the movie's success, even though they was on his choppers. In 2004, 20 years after his death, Hardy, the Captain America bike, sold for $1.35 million. 4 years later, in 2008, Hardy's work was featured in the Black Room at the California African American Museum. This exhibit, sponsored by the Automobile Club of Southern California, the most prominent member of the AAA Federation of Motor Clubs, was about the historical development of the African American motorcycle culture. A replica of Hardy's Captain America bike is housed in one of Germany's largest motorcycle collections at Germantown Wheeler and NSU Museum in northern Baden-Württemberg. Ben Hardy died in 1994. He was 74. Shout out to him. Thumbs up if you're feeling this history, because it's something they don't teach you in history class. She rolled through Jim Crow like it was just bad weather. Bessie Stringfield. Shout out to the sister. The Penny Tours queen who claimed the whole road. Shout out to Bessie. She was a black woman on a Harley Davidson in the 1930s. No GPS, no interstate highways, no safe hotels, no guarantees. Just a tank of gas, a spine made of steel, and a country that kept telling her no, no, no. With signs, stairs, with slammed doors, and sometimes with violence. So she made a different decision. She would not ask America for permission to move. Her name was Bessie Stringfield, known as the motorcycle queen of Miami. Shout out to her, man. Shout out to our sister, man. The picture that tells the truth. There's a photo of Bessie in Miami that feels like a sermon without words. Crisp shirt, clean pants, boots, and a two-tone Harley shining like a promise. That's just style. Nah, it's not just style. It's declaration. I belong here. I look good here. And you can't unsee me. You see me. That was Bessie's statement. Stop acting like you don't see me. She was coming at him from 2 points. She was black like me. She was a woman. A life so big it couldn't fit in one origin story. Bessie's early life is complicated because she sometimes told different versions of it. Later research has identified her as Bessie Beatrice white. Born in North Carolina, records commonly cite 1911 to 1912. But what matters here is even if the details of her beginning shifts, the reality of what she did never goes away. Teacher prospects about Bessie, man. The road is the record. The miles are the proof. 16 years old and the world opens. As the story goes, she received her first motorcycle as a teenager, an Indiana scout, and took to riding like she'd been born with handlebars in her hands. She was behind bars. No one had to teach her freedom. She recognized it the first time the engine spoke. Rum, rum. And by the 1930s, she did what the country wasn't prepared to imagine. She rode solo across America. I be trying to talk to dudes right now like, yo wanna ride, son? Yo wanna go to bike night, son? Yeah, I see you there in the cage. Yo, my dude, fall back with that, man. Fall back with that. So you got sis out here putting in work, man. Yo, put some freaking respect on tradition, man. Understand where you come from when you put a cut on, man. Understand this history when you put a cut on. You dig what I'm saying? Put some respect on that name. They paved the way, man. And you don't want to ride? You don't want to ride? Get out the way, man. The penny rides and the genius are making a way. One of the most famous parts of Bessie's legend is the way she chose her routes. She tossed the penny on a map, and wherever it landed, that's where she rode. So it became known as the penny ride. Shout out to her, man. Whether fully literal or partially myth, it fits her spirit perfectly. Besides, that's what we dealing with right here. We dealing with spirits. You riding with the Ruach, queen. Bessie didn't need a plan to be brave. She needed a direction. She traveled through America where black travelers had to be strategic just to survive. Decades before the Green Book became widely known, black families relied on word of mouth networks, church folks, neighbors. My cousin knows somebody in that town. Bessie often depended on that same community web. And when it wasn't there, she slept where she could. Sometimes even behind her bike. It's not just toughness, my guy. That's the black tradition of making shelter out of faith and improvise. She improvised. That's improvisation. Racing men, beating some of the men, and getting robbed anyway. Bessie didn't only ride long distance, she performed stunts, she did trick ridings, she put on shows, she lived inside danger like it was an ordinary work. Yeah, that's wild work right there, son. And when she entered races, she sometimes disguised herself as a man because promoters wouldn't let a woman compete. She won. And when they realized who beat their best riders, they refused to pay. That part of America, too. They love black talent until it acts for its rightful reward. Let's not forget. We can't pretend that doesn't exist, you all. So Bessie did what she always did. She got back on that bike and she left. World War II served a country that still didn't protect her. During World War II, Bessie served as a civilian motorcycle courier for the U.S. Army, delivering documents between bases. One of the few women doing that work. Even with credentials, even in service, racism still haunted her. This is black motorcycle culture, y'all. This is black motorcycle history that you need to know. Teach your prospects this, man. Taz, so you know, said it, man. This is important history, man. You dig? She reported being deliberately run off the road by a white man in a pickup truck in the South, and yet she kept riding. Because some people think courage is a moment. Bessie shows you it's a lifestyle. Miami tried to stop her, so she outrode them. When she later settled around Miami, she still wasn't allowed to simply exist in peace. Police reportedly harassed her for riding because, in their minds, a black woman on a motorcycle looked like trouble. So Bessie went straight to the police captain and demonstrated her skills until he couldn't deny her competence. From then on, she rode. That's a black history lesson right there, y'all. Sometimes the only way to be left alone is to be undeniable. She founded the Iron Horse Motorcycle Club and became a local legend. To me, a Harley is the only motorcycle ever made. She rode Harleys with loyalty that sounded like love. She owned many bikes over her lifetime, and she kept riding even when her heart struggled. When doctors told her to stop, she essentially said stopping will kill her faster. Because for Bessie, riding wasn't recreational. It was breath. The world finally caught up. For a long time, Bessie was famous in the way black legends often are, known deeply in the community, barely acknowledged by the mainstream. That has started to change. She was inducted into the AMA Motorcycle Hall of Fame in 2002. The AMA Bessie Stringfield Award existed in her honor. I had to include her in this documentary because in the time of Jim Crow, she was still rolling. Racism against black individuals seeking to join certain motorcycle clubs, particularly historically white clubs, dominant 1% white clubs, has existed, often manifest in exclusion or the formation of separate clubs. While some clubs may not have explicit officially racist policies, they have historically maintained entirely white memberships, with some members openly expressing or being known for prejudice, leading to segregated club cultures. Key aspects of this series right here includes historical segregation. Many traditions, 1% clubs have long histories of excluding black members, often citing or being linked to white supremacist attitudes within their ranks. Creation of separate clubs due to exclusion from mainstream white clubs. Many black motorcyclists have formed their own clubs, such as the Buffalo Soldiers. Shout out to Mac of the True Icons. Mac of the True Icons, his father rode with the Buffalo Soldiers out of Baltimore. Shout out to him. Shout out to his father, man. Shout out to Mac from the True Icons and his father from the Buffalo Soldiers out of Baltimore, Maryland. They had to do this, sure. Buffalo Soldiers Motorcycle Club and other predominantly black independent clubs creating their own communities, traditions, and brotherhood. Internal clubs, attitudes, Let's talk about that. Some members of established white clubs have been quoted acknowledging that while a club might not officially be racist, it may have enough racist members to prevent a black person from joining. And there's the evolution of culture. While some clubs have evolved and become more inclusive, others have retained a predominantly white and in some cases exclusionary membership base, perpetual and perpetrating the divide. As motorcycle cultures grew throughout the 20th century, it did not exist outside of the realities of American societies. For many black riders in the mid-20th century, the road offered freedom, but access to that freedom was not always equal. During the 1950s and 60s, even into the 1970s, some black riders reported difficulties purchasing motorcycles or joining certain clubs due to racial discrimination that existed throughout the American society.
And he told me, "Hey, Black Dragon, I'm in a motorcycle ministry, and one of my brothers that was trying to start a chapter ran into an issue where he was told by the local diamond that there would be no mixed race clubs in their COC. Mixed race clubs were not allowed. And he asked me, is that something you've ever heard of before? And I kind of had to chuckle. Being a 50-year-old mixed race club, not only have we heard that before, we've heard that a lot. And we've heard it recently, not so long ago.
What to watch next? Part 2. Rise of the Black Motorcycle Brotherhood. You're riding with the Ruach, and I'm that dude, Taz, doing wild work. Now, if you ain't feeling this, my dude, you must have paralysis. Smash that like button. If you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and subscribe. What are you waiting for? You dig? You're riding with the Ruach.